Researchers demonstrated that medical AI systems can easily learn to recognize racial identity in medical images, and that this capability is extremely difficult to isolate or mitigate. The miseducation of algorithms is a critical problem. When artificial intelligence mirrors unconscious thoughts, racism, and biases of the humans who generated these algorithms, it can lead to serious harm. Computer programs have wrongly flagged black defendants as twice as likely to re-offend as someone who is white. When an AI used caste as a proxy for health needs, it falsely named black patients as healthier than equally sick white ones, as less money was spent on them. Even AI used to write a play relied on using harmful stereotypes for casting. Removing sensitive features from the data seems like a viable tweak, but what happens when it is not enough? Examples of bias in natural language processing are boundless. But MIT scientists have investigated another important, largely underexplored modality, that is, medical images. Using both private and public datasets, the team found that AI can accurately predict self-reported race of patients from medical images alone. Using imaging data of chest X-rays, limb X-rays, chest CT scans, and mammograms, the team trained a deep learning model to identify race as white, black, or Asian, even though the images themselves contain no explicit mention of the patient's race. This is a feat even the most seasoned physicians cannot do, and it is not clear how the model was able to do this. In an attempt to tease out and make sense of the enigmatic how of it all, the researchers ran a slew of experiments. To investigate possible mechanisms of race detection, they looked at variables like differences in anatomy, bone density, resolution of images, and many more. And the models still prevailed with high ability to detect race from chest X-rays. The researcher says that superhuman capacities are generally much more difficult to control, regulate, and prevent from harming people. To set up the test, the scientists first showed that the models were able to predict race across multiple imaging modalities, various datasets, and diverse clinical tasks, as well as across a range of academic centers and patient populations in the United States. They used 3 large chest X-ray datasets and tested the model on an unseen subset of the dataset used to train the model and a completely different one. Next, they trained the racial identity detection models for non-chest X-ray images from multiple body locations, including digital radiography, mammography, lateral cervical spine radiographs, and chest CTs to see whether the model's performance was limited to chest X-rays. The team covered many bases in an attempt to explain the model's behavior, differences in physical characteristics between different racial groups, disease distribution, location-specific or tissue-specific differences, effects of societal bias and environmental stress, the ability to deep learning systems to detect race when multiple demographic and patient factors were combined, and if specific image regions contributed to recognizing race. What emerged was truly staggering. The ability of the models to predict race from diagnostic labels alone was much lower than the chest X-ray image-based models. For example, the bone density test used images where the thicker part of the bone appeared white and the thinner part appeared more gray or translucent. Scientists assumed that since black people generally have higher bone mineral density, the color differences helped the AI models to detect race. To cut that off, they clipped the images with a filter so the model couldn't color differences. It turned out that cutting off the color supply didn't phase the model. It still could accurately predict races. As such, the learned features of the model appeared to rely on all regions of the image, meaning that controlling this type of algorithmic behavior presents a messy, challenging problem.